Hello and welcome to Building Our Gaming Community. This is the third session of our process, and this is where the students are going to finally make some decisions about what the gamer norms, the expectations for their community are going to be, to have agency around those decisions to help support each other and themselves. Today's goals, the students are going to be reflecting, discussing, and deciding on what those behaviors should be that will be the norms for their community expectations. And then they're going to practice that through play and be thinking about what they are doing in the process so they can best help themselves and their peers. And it's all about having fun and growing in our practice. And with the format, we want to make sure that, whatever the format's going to be, we want to explain that and have that available to our students. And the point of emphasis is that we want to have opportunities to review club norms to begin with, and then do esports exploration. In this case, it's going to be the thinking and voting on norms. And then we want free time where the students can play the games they want to play based upon the provided list that you have of what games are acceptable in your club for them to choose from. And then we want to do a post-play reflection to reflect on how they use the norms or particular norms in their practice with each other and within themselves. So we would start with the temporary norms we have, or use the list of ideas they have for potentially their final norms. And we just want them to reflect on, think about what is important to today and how they're going to accomplish the work that they have to finish as a group. We want to review the list of the norms that they had made at the previous session, making sure that there's any questions that need to be answered are answered by the students for clarifying their understanding, and if there's any additional questions that they have. This is not the time to add more norms, because this is the list. This is the list that they came up with at the last meeting. We want to give them 7 stars, and within those 7 stars or asterisks, however you want to do it, is that they get to put those stars next to the norms they think are the most important. So they can put, say, 3 stars on one norm and 4 stars on another norm, and now they spent all their stars. Or they could put 1 star with 7 different norms. It's entirely up to them how they want to vote with their stars. But this is what we want to do to see which are the most important to them individually and then as a group. What do they value? Based upon the use of the stars, we've culled the list down to the top 8. And from this, the students will look and they'll do a final vote just in terms of which characteristics are most important to them. And that's where we're going to have 4 to 5 that will be the community expectations. And this is what they will then have. And then you would have a chart where they would sign off on the norms, because that would show that they are agreeing to support and follow the norms. Everyone needs to sign off in order to be part of the club, because these are the norms that we are agreeing to work with. One thing that you can do is, if you do 4 to 5 norms, is that you can keep available one additional norm that could be added from that top 8 that maybe was number 7 or just didn't make the final vote, but the club officers or staff like yourself feel like it's something that should be added as an important piece. And as long as you're transparent about how that happens, then there could be buy-in by the students. Now that we have the norms, we want to let students go ahead and pick whatever station they want to go to play the games, and they're going to be thinking about the norms that they have established, that they signed off on, and they're going to use that as their focus as they're playing to practice those positive, constructive, productive behaviors. At the end of the meeting, it's going to be important to do some type of reflection piece and ask them, to think about how well did they do the norm? Have them rate themselves on 1 to 5. How well did you follow the norm that was identified by the whole group? And how do you think the whole group did with that norm? And see where people are engaging. And this starts the process of getting them to be very mindful of their habits and the habits of others, with the purpose of ensuring a positive and welcoming culture. it's really important that everyone signs those norms at the end of the process, because it is a social contract that we all agree to follow these behaviors, not just the students, but the staff as well. So you would sign this as well to agree that you would follow these norms. So everyone feels that this is established by the students, that are guidelines that everyone's expected to participate with. This concludes this final session of building our gaming community for developing that culture and building student agency. I wish you well in the work that you do with your students, and this will be an amazing launch of your program.